So we discussed the definition of design thinking. Now let's walk through the steps of design thinking. Here are the steps to design thinking. First, you need the challenge statement. The challenge statement is actually the problem that you're trying to solve. Then you need to understand your audience. So who is going to be using, or who is having the challenge or the problem? Who are they? And so you can do this through immersion and empathy, through observation, and through interviewing. Then you want to, kind of gather those insights and understand, well, what did I learn about this person that would be using the solution I create? And so that's, kind of understanding the learnings and if there's any themes. And from there, you're going to go through ideation, which is really trying to come up with as many ideas to solve the challenge. You want to think outside of the box. You want to think about well, of course, we're going to do that as a solution to, I never even thought about that as a solution. So it really helps you come up with the best idea to move forward to the next step, which is prototype. A prototype is a simple solution for you to test to see if the solution is actually going to work. So it's cheap, it's fast, it's, you don't take a lot of time and energy with it because you really just want to see, does this work? And so the prototype is where you're going to start gathering feedback to understand, well, does this work? And if it does, you kind of move forward to making it a solution. If it doesn't, then you're going to iterate where you're going to try to figure out how to tweak it, how to enhance it. You might have to scrap it and start brand new to a new prototype. But it really is that time to make sure that the solution you're choosing is truly going to work for the business as well as for the person. And then it's iteration, which is, again, doing that continuous improvement, continuing to tweak and enhance. But once you have a solution that you want to actually implement, you need to pitch it. You need to get the buy-in from everyone so that you actually can implement that solution and the solution is going to be used. But it doesn't stop there because you want to continually look at that solution and see, does it work today? Does it work in 5 years? So you always are like in iteration when you come up with a solution. And those are the steps to design thinking. What's your problem that you're trying to solve? Who are you trying to solve it for? What are the ideas that you can, put together that might be that solution? How can you test it out in a very quick, easy, cheap way through a prototype? And then how can you pitch it, implement it, but continue to iterate that solution for the long term? Why is design thinking important in HR and talent? Well, you heard the definition. It talks about people, it talks about the business, and that's exactly what we do in human resources. Our goal is to make sure that we have the right people in place, we have the right policies and procedures to help our people be successful in their role. And the success in their role equates to hitting business goals, business objectives. So design thinking really is that methodology that's going to help us ensure what we're doing for the business works for the business as well as our employees. Now, when I started my learning of design thinking, I actually realized I was doing some of it without even knowing. And so the question is, are you currently using design thinking without knowing it? And here are some ways that you might be using design thinking without knowing it. A lot of times you might be looking at a business opportunity. So that can be the challenge statement. Candidate persona, this is something I use as a recruiter, and that is just like understanding your audience. Gathering insights, that could be a survey, evaluations, Ideation is a fancy word for brainstorming. So if you brainstorm at work, you're going through ideation. Prototype always feels very techy, but it's actually a draft, a pilot, sandbox. I know we talk about sandbox a lot when we use our HR tech. And then iterations kind of flip the script, trying to do something different or, tweak a process that we currently have. So I bet you can think of at least one example of a way that maybe you've used design thinking to help within, your HR team and help your organization. So in order to use design thinking, I've created 3 different challenge statements that I want you to pick one from so that you can go through design thinking and it's a hands-on approach. So let's go over those challenge statements. A challenge statement can be very big. It could be you can use design thinking to implement a brand new technology, a brand new HRS system, right? That's a pretty big challenge to solve. So we have 3 days. So I really wanted to make sure it was something that you felt you could do and that something you may actually want to do within, the HR world. So the first one is new policy communication. How might we communicate a new HR policy to employees that impacts their benefits for the new year? So I know this happens a lot, right? Where something changes in our benefits, we might add a new benefit, cost might change. So it's really important on how we communicate that to our employees. So this is a way to make sure that you put together a solid communication that helps the employee understand the benefit, why it's changed, what's new about it, why does it impact them? So that is challenge statement number 1. Number 2, intake meeting agenda. How might we create an intake meeting agenda that helps the recruiter and hiring manager collaborate on recruiting efforts? Intake meetings so important in the recruiting process and making sure that you get through everything you need through that intake meeting so you can post the position and recruit for that position and you find the right candidates is so important. So creating an agenda that's really going to make sure that you're on time, that you're getting everything you need, but also the hiring managers getting what they need can really help you with recruiting. And then finally, number 3, email signature. How might we create an email signature template for the HR team that helps connect them to the employees? So we use email all the time. And so this could be a really cool way to enhance the connection of our employees through the emails that we send. So finding a template that maybe all the HR team can use so it's cohesive, but also, helps people really understand who you are and what you do could be a really interesting way to, build up a relationship through email because we all know we use email every day. So your homework is to pick one of these challenges to use for the rest of the course and then share it in the comments. We are going to work through design thinking to find a solution for the challenge statement that you pick. So the first thing we're going to do is understand the audience. So who is going to be impacted by creating this solution so that you can really ensure that the solution you create actually works for who is going to be using it.